What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades, and today we're talking about the Rike Knife Thor 7, and it's been a long time coming. I have had this knife sitting here on the tabletop for months. It has sat here so long that when I took the box out so I could show you guys the packaging, I had to dust the box off. I did a video, an unboxing and initial impression of this knife, which was very positive. And this review is going to be very positive, but just as sort of a cliffhanger, I'm going to let you guys know there was a problem with this knife. I did have to contact Rike Knife, and we will talk about that in the fit and finish section of this video. So we've got the Rike Knife Thor 7, the 7th iteration of the Thor series, which is typically the Thor series are titanium integral build flipper folders. The Thor 7 deviates from that build style just a little bit into what I call a sub-integral build, and we will get into that also. Let's take a look at that dusty box over here. We're going to get the box out. It's a Rike Knife marked. Let's see here. We've got a magnetic flap. Inside, you're going to find a little hang tag like that with a code on it to read. You're going to get a microfiber cleaning cloth, and you're going to get the knife in a plastic bag down in a little foam, form-fit foam insert. Enough of that. Oh, wait a second here. Let's take a look at the... is that focused, guys? I can't tell if it's focused or not because I don't have my glasses on and I can't see crap because I'm old. So let's get the knife back in here. Let's take a look at some specs first. What size is this damn knife, Baz on Blades? This is what I would consider to be a medium-large EDC size knife. You're looking at a 3.5 inch blade length. That's 9 centimeters. Your blade stock thickness is 135 thousandths of an inch or 3.4 millimeters. Your blade width at the widest, 1.16 inches or 29.5 millimeters. Handle length, 4 3/4 of an inch or 12 centimeters. Handle thickness, 546 thousandths of an inch or 13.8 millimeters. The handle width at the widest is slightly less than 1 inch or 25 millimeters. Your closed width, pretty narrowed. Look how deeply that blade nests within the handle. It is 1 1/4 inches wide right here, and that's about, 32 millimeters. Overall length, 8 1/4 inches or 21 centimeters. Stop pin diameter, the same as the blade stock thickness. Very good, Rike Knife. That is 135 thousandths of an inch or 3.4 millimeters. Behind the edge thickness on this high flat grind, very thin, very slicey, very well done at 13 thousandths of an inch, and I did check that twice. It is 13 thousandths, honestly, and that is about 1/3 of a millimeter. Your handle to blade ratio, 74%, and your weight, 3.21 ounces or 91 grams, and that does split in there right under that 1 ounce per inch blade length. It just blows that out of the water. So for its size, it's going to be a lightweight carry. Let's talk about some materials now, and we'll talk about the price that you've got to pay to get into these materials. So in this Rike Knife Thor 7, which is a sub-integral build, you have 154 cm for your blade steel. You've got G10 for your handle scales. Your sub-integral part of this around the pivot is in titanium, and your small hardware is titanium, including a very attractive milled titanium pocket clip. You get the little pop of blue on the anodized titanium parts. I think as far as materials go, it's pretty decent considering this knife costs between about $150 and $170 depending on where you get it. And it's honestly, it's been so long since I bought this knife, I do not remember where I got it. So just shop around and get your best price. Again, $150 to $170 for the standard model. There is a premium model that the scales will be in carbon fiber and the blade steel will be in M390 rather than 154 cm. And I believe those models are going about the $220 to $240 price point, depending on where you get them. So, your blade steel 154 cm. Tell me about 154 cm Bazon blades. Is that the newest wonder steel that's going to save the world? No, it's not. 154 cm was developed in 1970, which coincidentally is the year Bazon Blades was born, and that means that this is the greatest steel ever made. Nothing will ever beat it because it was created the year I was born. No, not really. 154 cm is a really decent steel. It is now considered sort of a premium on the mid-grade to upper mid-grade knives. 154 cm was originally developed for jet turbine blades and jet turbine engines. It's going to have very good wear resistance or edge retention. The impact resistance or toughness is good, and it's got good corrosion resistance. It is really my favorite of the steels in its general performance range. And for a long time, 154 cm was the premium super steel on the market. It's not been that long since that was true. It's a pretty good steel. At this price point, it's more than acceptable to Bazon Blades, considering the insane amount of machining and milling on this knife. You're also paying for that. Speaking of, let's take a look at some of this machining and milling on that blade. Not too close, because we're not talking about fit and finish yet. We're talking about materials. Titanium sub-integral G10 titanium small parts, including that pocket clip. So let's talk about fit and finish on this knife. It is everything that I expected from Rike knives except for one thing. It did have a defective part on it. I have never heard any bad about Rike knife as far as their quality control. I honestly, when making a knife like this, I could not see anybody that actually cares about their job purposefully letting something not 100% get by. Is probably just one of those things in manufacturing. But what it was, there was an issue with the pocket clip. And I'm going to show you that. I've got the original pocket clip right here for you to see. Now, we've got the original pocket clip here right on the side of it. Let's get up very close. Do you see these two notches? I do not know what caused those notches. It could have been a tooling issue when this was machined or whatever, guys. I don't know. But those notches are deep enough to where they caused a stress fracture right here at the tip of my fingernail across this thin section of skeletonizing here on the pocket clip. It cracked right there, and it came out of the box that way. I just didn't notice it when I did the initial impressions video. So I contacted Rike Knife and heard back from them immediately. Within 24 hours, I heard back from them, and they got my information, contact information. They said they would get a part right out to me. It had to ship from China, but it was to me in 2 weeks. So it's very quick. And what they did went above and beyond. What they did is they sent me 2 brand new pocket clips and a bunch of replacement titanium screws, anodized titanium screws. Well, that's pretty decent right there. I mean, sometimes something slips by, even on an expensive knife. Sometimes something slips by, and what matters then is how the company takes care of it. So that is the only negative thing I will say during the fit and finish part of this review, because this knife is overall perfectly done as far as the fit and finish goes. Let's get back up on that blade again, and now take a very close look at it. Look at that surface finish. That Media Blast surface finish has just a beautiful amount of sheen, subdued reflection to it. It is just a beautiful, beautiful blade finish for this knife, and is very uniformly done. We'll get up here around this machining on the spine, quote unquote, of the knife, and you can see how good that finishing is all around. Now, this is not some crazy Dungeons and Dragons gas station truck stop knife. This thing is as well done in every respect as anything you would want out of a knife in this price range. And I got to be perfectly honest with you, the fit and finish on this knife is better than I would expect at this price point. I mean, being able to get this knife for $150, yeah, we're getting a lot of fit and finish, machine work, final finish work for surface finish, all of that in this knife. All of this machining here. Now, imagine you're going to have this chucked up in a CNC mill and it's going to machine this out, but it's going to leave an as machined finish across all of those surfaces. It's a four-dimensional type of thing here. So you've got to come in and you've got to do the surface finish on all of that, around every nook and cranny, and we're getting up very close to it right here. There is nothing on this blade that is not perfectly finished. The grinds are even side to side, the swedge included. The secondary bevel, the edge bevel, look at it from tip to termination, is absolutely beautiful. Perfect sharpening choil here. Look at how high that choil is and the plunge is up above the edge. You will get many resharpenings before you ever have to worry about getting anywhere near that plunge. Kudos to whoever designed that aspect of this blade profile. The markings on it, the laser etchings, Thor 7 on the front. There's your markings on the back. Like I say, I don't have my glasses on. I cannot read that right now, but you guys just read it to yourself, so good for you. Let's go on to fit and finish of the handle here. There is a ton of shit going on in this handle, so we're going to break it down into two sections, and that is the pivot section, the sub-integral section, and then the handle scales. This is a sub-integral, meaning that it has a substructure that is integral. It works as the foundation that the rest of the knife, the handle parts, are mounted onto, rather than a full integral, which would have been a continuous piece, an integral piece. That means that this pivot is machined from one piece of titanium. That is why you see the covers on the side here. Once you take the pivot out, the covers come off. You have access to your bearings and stuff. That is the way integrals are done. This has some, let's see if we can see down in here, guys. I don't know. You can see sort of right here, the way that the frame comes down into wings, that is where your scales are mounted to. And then they've got, a continuous back section here where they're together. You've got a mounting screw back here for your pocket clip. These, it's very solidly done. Now, for those of you that are familiar with the Kaiser knives, Elijah Isham designed Megatherium. The Megatherium was also a sub-integral build like this. So if you're familiar with that knife, you sort of know what you're going to get right here. Let's take a look here at the handle scales themselves. This G10, and that's a crap ton of machining. There is very little surface on this knife that is not been touched in some sort of way to give it some surface feature machining. I got to tell you right now, I feel like this knife is a steal at the price that it costs just because of the fit and finish. I feel like it's a steal. We're looking very, very closely at this. Look at this joiner line down the back of the handle scales. Now, they decided rather than try to machine that absolutely flat and hiding that joiner line, they would feature that joiner line with an incredibly tight chamfer. Okay, that is why you see this line. The edges, the inside edges of these scales have a micro chamfer on them, and it is leaving that very consistent joiner line there. That's pretty decent machining. You go into the surface on this machining here, and I mean that's a crap ton of details. You guys just look at it. I mean, there is so much going on with this knife. You might even say it's a busy design. But that said, let's take a step back and look at the overall design going out of fit and finish. It's a very much a sort of, it reminds me of a sci-fi fantasy sort of H.R. Geiger joining of machine and animal sort of look. And it's done in a very sort of balanced way, actually. You see very organic, animal-inspired machining here on the blade. And then you go into the sub-integral part around the pivot, and it's a very technical, very machine sort of look. And then you go back into an organic look here. And then on the pocket clip, again, you've got a very precise, very machined tech sort of look to it. It's very much a balance of a sort of a high-tech, futuristic, and a very organic, animalistic sort of look. And I think that overall it's a very, very balanced look, in my opinion. So let's talk about action. This knife shines as far as action. The opening and closing is joyful. It is very smooth. It has a very good detent. It is on ceramic bearings for your pivot and your detent. I mean, it is very, very smooth. The surface finish on the blade, this very satiny finish, feels wonderful when you start closing this knife and rolling it around, and you can feel the pressure of the detent ball on the blade. You get a feedback of the surface texture of the blade. It's a very silky hydraulic feeling here. Now, I've never taken this knife apart. There wasn't any reason. I mean, honestly, guys, it's just the type of knife that I'm going to take straight out of the box. I'm going to put straight into the collection. I'm going to carry occasionally. It came out of the box with perfect action, perfect centering. The lockup is absolutely solid on it. It is just everything that you could expect at this price point. You could not realistically expect any better action without stepping up many times this price point. In fact, I have owned many knives that were 3 times the cost of this that didn't have any better action. It's just as far as the manufacturer quality, the fit and finish, the action of this knife, it is absolutely stellar, with the only issue being I don't know how that pocket clip made it out of the factory like that. God almighty, I'd be totally embarrassed to let that by. But shit happens, so there you go. And then, Rike Knife stepped up. They stepped up and they took care of the issue. They were very attentive, very courteous, went overboard in correcting the issue. I've got nothing, absolutely nothing bad to say about them. It is a beautiful knife, very well made, excellent materials, excellent action, solid lockup, perfect centering. Let's talk about the ergos and utilitarian use of this knife. And we do see some sort of balancing act here between the aesthetic choices and the utilitarian design of the knife. The number one place you are going to see that is on the spine of the knife, where this spinal machining acts as your jimping for that blade. Let's get up here very close. You can see the peaks on this. Now, everything is rounded and softened, but those are still peaks right there. If you use that for jimping, it really is a little soft. It doesn't give you much purchase, but those peaks are pretty pronounced. So I probably would not use it. I would get down here in this trough section here. You can see this trough section is where they want you to put your thumb, and it is far enough forward of the finger choil to where it is a natural feel and you're not all compressed back in with your thumb. So it feels good. You don't have any reason to get out on this part. You can see I am pretty extended out there. Naturally, my thumb falls about right here. Excellent work there. This could have been an issue, and if you like to go real far forward with your thumb, that might be an issue. But what kind of crazy dumbass will be out there doing any hard work with this knife? If you get out there and start doing some hard work with this knife and you hot spot up here, well, that's your damn choice right there. The handle, all of the machining on the handle is very smooth, with nice open radiuses on it. There's nothing sharp. The tip of the pocket clip is not sharp in any way. That is a flat plane in a machined pocket clip. In your hand, you can feel there's a pocket clip there, but it is nothing to your hand. The handle does look very stylized, but let's set all of this machining aside. Just look at the profile, the perimeter design of this handle. It is very traditional. It is sort of a wasp-waisted type of handle design with a nice drop to the butt end. You've got a very wide open finger choil here that is not restrictive, but in combination with the flipper tab, it does give you a nice forward guard area. This drop in the butt end, again, your handle, it's not flat. You want to have some drop in it. You're going to curl that hand around that. Look at that, guys. It's a beautiful, beautiful fit in my large size hand with fat, medium length fingers. This is your fit. There is enough thickness on the handle to make it feel substantial, like a tool in your hand, even though it's a fairly narrow handle. What did I say the handle width was? 1 inch at the widest. That's right here. It is fairly narrow. And again, look at how deeply that blade nests down in there. It carries very well. You've got this rounded sort of 1911 skeletonized hammer looking flipper tab. It is fully jimped around it. The jimping is functional. It works very well. It looks very nice. Everything, every little thing about this knife is very well done. Now, one thing that we do want to talk about is a feature on this pocket clip. Look at this slot right here. I would just about bet that is the perfect size slot for a tritium vial. A little bit of UV activated glue and a tritium vial, say a nice blue tritium vial in there to match the hardware, would look very nice. I think it would look very nice, guys. I think it would. I think if I can ever find a blue tritium vial, I will do that mod myself just to add a little something to this when I carry it. Again, you've got your, what is basically a sub frame lock on this. It does have a steel insert for your contact point, so no big deal there. You know, I can come back here and let's squeeze. I'm squeezing super hard on that G10. It is very stiff because you can see it's nice thick slabs of G10, guys, and you've got the full integral sort of backspacer type of build, you know, that gives it a lot of stiffness. It's a very stiff knife for how lightweight it is. I mean, 3.21 ounces, 91 grams. That's fantastic at 3.5 inches of blade length. Fantastic. Fantastic. Look at that continuous belly. From tip to termination, it is continuous belly on that blade. That is just a super efficient edge profile. It is. And 13 thousandths behind the edge. This thing is a slicer, guys. It is aggressively a slicer. It is very sharp from the factory. I mean, very sharp. You can tell in the way it's been sharpened. The tip is super catchy, guys. It is, yeah, it is catching at no pressure. You just move against it and it's catching. Very well done. Very well done. I mean, you guys have seen up close. You've seen the grinds, the finishing, the fit and finish here, all of the different materials that were machined, how precisely they're machined. Honestly, there's nothing on this knife that is bad at all. Just the issue with that pocket clip again. And they did step up and replace that clip with zero questions asked. Went above and beyond on that. I'm going to recommend this knife. I'm going to recommend this knife with the caveat that you do not get it thinking you're getting a heavy-duty work knife. It is no more heavy-duty than any other titanium sort of build like this, sort of a subframe lock, sub-integral sort of build. I wouldn't consider it to be a heavy-duty work knife, but it is plenty stout enough for any type of use. I just couldn't imagine using this beautiful knife to, I mean, God, guys, I don't know. It would slice cardboard with the best of them. I can tell you that right now. But I just don't know if I'd have take it out cutting down boxes. I don't know. This was more of a piece for me. I wanted a more artsy fartsy type of piece with the, you know, all the machining and the organic and techno sort of combination of design styles. That's what I wanted for my collection. This knife really spoke to me. The price point spoke to me. The materials did. And upon receiving the knife, the quality also spoke to me. And that's why I'm recommending the Rike Knife Thor 7. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.